'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a lustre of midday to objects below. When what to my wandering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, in St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed in all fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry! His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke had encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere they drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." 'Twas the night before Christmas in Trotsdale. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and when all through the sim not a creature was stirring, not even the admin. The stockings were raised by the fire with care, in hopes that St. Dash would soon be there. The bronies all logged and were snug in their beds, while visions of rarity danced in their heads. And I in my cape, and Mitchy in her hat, had just logged off for a long winter's nap. While in the Skype convo there arose such a chatter, I logged back in to see what's the matter. Away to my home I TP'd like a flash, de-resed the shutters and unlinked the sash. The virtual moon on the breast of the new fallen snow made my GPU wheeze from the landscape's midday glow. When what to my wandering eye should enter but a miniature sleigh, 1 skunk and 7 ponies with fake antlers. With a tall, sexy driver with much charm and such sass, I knew in a moment it must be St. Dash. More rapid than rainbooms her courses they came, and she shouted on text and on voice and called them by name. Now DC, now Daydream, Amahana and Stinky, on Cloudy, on Hazel, Patea and Pinky. To the top of Mount Scorch, to the top of the wall, now crash away. Don't crash the sim, crash away all. Like homes washed away in a raging typhoon, conquer every obstacle and shoot for the moon. So up to the housetop the ponies they flew, with a sleigh full of loot, and St. Dash too. And then overhead I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each colorful hoof. I glanced to my left and was turning around, when down the hollow chimney St. Dash came with a bound. She was decked in lace and red satin from her colorful mane to her candy cane boots, and she appeared mildly tarnished with a thin layer of soot. With a bundle of toys she had rezzed on the ground, she looked like a doll spending a night on the town. Her eyes were ablaze, her gaze so passionate, upon 2 legs she ambled, I did not imagine it. Her thin little mouth held a tight smirk, her confidence didn't falter, her presence had few quirks. The stump of a candy cane held tight in her teeth, and for no real reason, mist gathered around her head like a wreath. She had a thin narrow face and a well-toned belly, not an inch of her shook like a bowl full of jelly. She was tight, strong, and slim, a right ripped young mare. She caught me gawking, but I was too enchanted to care. But with a giggle, a wink, and a slap to the head, I returned to my senses, and she kicked me into bed. I landed with a thud, and she shot me a smile, then she dumped all my stuff and threw it in a pile. Turning back to the chimney, she gave a salute, ducked under the mantel, and up the chimney she flew. She hopped in her sleigh, and to her team gave a yell, and away they all flew like a bat out of hell. But I heard her exclaim, as she sped out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."